Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron.
Oh, Aaron done messed up. Did not have the correct screen orientation. You know, I was going to start out by saying Aaron done messed up, but this time it wasn't this Aaron. It was another Aaron Kyro, the founder and CEO of Braille Skateboarding. But then I started the video and I messed up anyway. So I screwed it all up, guys. But we are here to talk about Aaron Kyro. We are here to talk about Braille Skateboarding. And we are here in particular to provide some thoughts and commentary on a video that was done by Ricky Glaser about having been disconnected from by Aaron Kyro. Scientology has destroyed Braille skateboarding. There's really no two ways about it. I got a whole bunch of thoughts about the ways in which that is true. I think I want to get into those thoughts after we look at what Ricky has said and my thoughts on the real reason that Aaron disconnected from Ricky. Ricky Glaser was one of the main personalities. There's a lot of personalities, a lot of people who have contributed to the success and the growth of Braille skateboarding over the years, and Ricky Glaser is one of those people. I'll show you his channel here. This is Ricky Glaser's channel, very big channel, skateboarding channel, and he has been very active and vocal in the conversation that's been happening about Braille, about Aaron, even about Scientology. And before I forget to mention it, guys, I'm going to stop posting segments and short clips on this channel. I'm going to keep my long form content on this channel, and I'm going to post all segments and clips to the Growing Up in Scientology Clips channel. So subscribe to there if you're not already. Okay, so Ricky Glaser posted a video, and it is called Aaron Kyro and Braille Have Disconnected From Me. And I have set up a whole bunch of timestamps on this video that I am going to share with you. And I'm going to show you, see, Ricky's approaching this from a very logical and human perspective. And the only mistake that he's making is that Scientology is neither logical nor human. But I want to show you how he is going about, or at least how he's been thinking about what happened with Braille, what happened with Aaron, what happened between him and Aaron, and why. And I'm just going to provide some commentary as we go through this. And then I'm going to get to my thoughts on Scientology actually destroying Braille. Okay, so where I have this queued up to is he is basically explaining that he has been blocked. He has been disconnected from. Let's take a look at this.
A little bit.
Oh, wait. My earphone is not plugged in here, you guys. This is hugely embarrassing. Totally amateur. It's amateur hour over here. Give me a sec, guys. There we go. That's more like it. All right, here we go, guys.
Anyway, let's get to it. So what this is about is on Instagram, Braille Skateboarding and Aaron Kyro both blocked me, Ricky Glaser, on Instagram. Then on YouTube, my main channel account, Ricky Glaser, if I comment on a Braille video, I'm like shadow banned, that it looks like I've commented, but no one else can see it. And what that also means is that every comment I've ever made on every video that I've ever been in on Braille is also ghosted, vanished. And you can check this yourself. You can go to videos like my introduction to Braille or a heavy video about me. And obviously there would be a comment with thousands of thumbs up, but now they're all gone. They're all vanished. Shout out to when I used to do the top comments at 10:01 when all the videos come out. That seemed like a good use of my time.
Okay, now he is going to comment on why he believes he was disconnected from. Let's take a listen.
I know you're definitely wondering, why did this happen? Now, I can only give you my best guess because I don't have all the information. I only have the information from my point of view. So I'm going to give you my best assessment of what I think is happening from my point of view. In Scientology, man, we're really getting into it. In Scientology, there's this thing, from what I understand, called the disconnection policy. And basically what that says is when someone in your life has shown that they are against Scientology, that you and other Scientologists need to completely cut this person out of your life and shun them and never talk to them ever again. This is my understanding, and they label these persons SP or suppressive person or PTS, potential trouble source. I think potential trouble source is a little bit lighter and SP is harsher. But again, I'm not an expert on any of this shit. I don't really know. So definitely look it up for yourself and maybe you can get some better information. And let me.
Okay. I mean, Ricky kind of nailed it. Okay. So just some quick thoughts here. So it's not so an SP is someone, just think of them as evil, bad, terrible person, hates humanity, hates Scientology, wants people to get worse, wants to suppress people, fights against anything that helps people, supports anything that hurts people, all this kind of stuff. Whenever L. Ron Hubbard writes about suppressive persons, he of course talks about Hitler, Dillinger, Mao. When you're reading these policies in Scientology, you don't realize it's also talking about like your grandma if she talks to the wrong person. Now, a potential trouble source is someone who's connected to a suppressive person. And I guess after enough time, a potential trouble source under the influence of a suppressive person could then become a suppressive person. This is just how Scientology defines these things. The fact is, in Scientology, an SP is anyone who doesn't follow the rules or who leaves Scientology and speaks out against Scientology. But Ricky has a very good basic understanding of these things. Okay, now Ricky's going to explain why he thinks he has been labeled a suppressive person. Let's take a look at this.
So why did I get them so upset and labeled myself as a suppressive person? I want to backtrack a little bit here and just...
Okay, now he does go on a bit of an explanation. He talks about a whole bunch of people who've left the company. He talks about some work that he's done recently with Braille just in the last few weeks, or the last 4 or 5 weeks, some interaction he's had with Aaron Kyro recently. He talks about the Braille skate park being destroyed without anyone having been given an advance notice, without any of the items being auctioned or any of this kind of stuff. And he talks about some real fishy and false replies that started being made on various social platforms by Braille and by Aaron. And then all of a sudden he gets blocked. Now, at the 9-minute 20-second mark, or 9-minute 21-second mark, he specifically addresses the fact that he has not been shying away publicly of the conversation that's been happening about Scientology. Let's hear what he says here.
I was blocked. And what's also crazy is that I'm very publicly, I haven't been afraid to shy away from the Scientology conversation. You can see it in my dumb data reaction vid. You can see when I talk to Gifted Hater on the phone, on his live stream. You can see when anytime that I talk about Scientology, I'm always saying, yes, Braille is a company about skating, nothing to do with Scientology. What Aaron does in his personal life is up to Aaron. Like, I'm super saying that. I'm saying I believe in religious freedom. Everyone criticizes me and says Scientology is not a real religion. It's not the same as Christianity, blah, 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 blah. That's fair enough. Everyone can have differing opinions on that. But my stance has been crystal clear since day one. I've always stayed true to that. And I say the same thing. I saw...
Okay. What he just said was incredibly logical, rational, and fair. Ricky's not been critical of Scientology. He has not falsely accused Aaron of doing things in the company that he wasn't doing. I've heard that Aaron's really never pushed Scientology on any of the people in the company. And Ricky is making the mistake of being logical and fair. Ricky doesn't actually know the mistake that he made. That, in my opinion, I could be wrong. In my opinion, could be wrong as well. But I'm going to share with you in a moment here what Ricky really did, that he didn't realize crossed the line, because he didn't realize how crazy Scientologists think about some of these things. Okay, I'm going to jump forward to the 10-minute 58-second mark, where again he says why he thinks this is happening.
Now, why I think this is happening, this is my theory, this is my own thoughts. This is not presenting as fact. This is my thoughts, my own interpretation.
Oh, crap.
But
I'm sorry,
I think
guys.
in my comment section, there is too much negativity and free speech towards Scientology. That's what I'm thinking. And I feel like the other people are viewing that as me. I'm enabling this negative speech, this free negative speech. And I feel like that is what has got me labeled as this suppressive person and why I'm being blocked and shunned.
That is not what would have been the reason for him being blocked and shunned? We're going to get to that in a moment. And, you know, there's a really sort of touching text message. And I say touching because it's just so genuine and human and fair and kind. There's no animosity. This text message that Ricky sent to Aaron after he saw that he'd been blocked on everything. And I guess what struck me when I saw this text message, he shares it on the screen, he reads it, I'm going to share it with you here in a second, is that it's the exact opposite of anything a Scientologist would do or say. And it's the exact opposite of anything Aaron Kyro has done or said to his former friends, people who thought they were his friends, people who all of a sudden he's just blocking and disconnecting from without even the care of contacting them and be like, hey, we got a problem. We've got beef. We've got a problem. And if we can't resolve it, I'm going to have to make some decisions. Like Scientologists, for all they pat themselves on the back for their amazing communication skills and their confront and their ability to handle anything, are pure cowards. And they don't even see it. They don't even see it. Okay, so the text message that he sent to Aaron is at 12:38. Here we go.
Me ever again. After I figured all this out, I did send Aaron a text message, which I feel like my phone number is probably blocked. It says delivered, but I don't know what that means. But maybe I'll just read it out here so you can truly get a sense of how I'm trying to communicate with him. And if Aaron does happen to watch this video, then at least I've said my final piece. So I'll read it right now. I say, hi, Aaron. I noticed that you and Braille blocked me on Instagram and YouTube. Maybe you have my phone number blocked too, but I'd like to try my say my piece anyway. It's pretty disheartening to see this bad ending for us. It really does taint the good times after such a positive professional and personal relationship. I understand everything is crashing down right now, and I am sorry for that. Maybe you feel I have betrayed you or turned my back on you. I am grateful for everything you and Braille has done for me, and I have always respected you. But as adults, we have to stand by the decisions we make, and sometimes they can push people apart. In these recent videos I've made answering questions about closing the park, I feel I have been fair. If you watch the videos, you will see I'm not taking cheap shots at you or your beliefs, and I am pretty empathetic towards the situation. I'm just trying to give myself some closure on a large chapter of my life and help the fans get a little more understanding on what's going on from my point of view. I wish you all the best, Aaron, Ricky. Man, even reading that now bums me up.
Wow. It was such a great text message. He does say Aaron never bothered to respond to that text message. He doesn't know if Aaron got the text message. He's assuming that Aaron blocked his number. Imagine taking someone who's been a very close friend of yours for what, 15 years, and blocking them because without even having, like, there's never been an upset. They didn't have an argument. They didn't have a falling out. There was no standoff. There was nothing. This is how some of the most senior Scientologists treat people in their lives. This is the magical technology of Scientology that gives you the tools to handle life. This is those tools in actual application by real high-level Scientologists. It's actually really disgusting. Okay, let's see. Oh, someone says they've been close for about 4 years. Okay, fine, 4 years. Okay, now, so let's go back to this very briefly, this idea of PTS and SP. Let's say you're a new Scientologist and you're starting your first major course. You're going to sit down, you're going to get an interview with the ethics officer to see if you have any sources of suppression on your lines in your life. And let's say you say that my mother hates it that I came here. She said, don't go in there. It's a cult. The ethics officer says, oh, this is a PTS situation, but your mother isn't an SP. Your mother is just antagonistic to Scientology because she lacks the true information about Scientology. See, Scientology, the way they approach this idea of a potential trouble source is they say, whoever the source of suppression is that you're connected to, you have to make the decision. Are you going to handle, which means fix, resolve the source of suppression, or are you going to disconnect from the source of suppression? Part of the math that goes into making that decision is, why does this person have a problem with Scientology? Most usually it's attributable to, they will say, not having the true information. You then have to go give them the true information. You have to basically make them kind of okay with you being in Scientology. Now, if the source of suppression that you're connected to, or the antagonism to Scientology that you're connected to, is such that it is not possible to handle, then disconnection is the recommended solution. Ricky's mistake that he may not have fully realized at the time was being connected to me. When Aaron would have been confronted with well, let me just show you guys. Let's see. It is this video right here. Aaron Kyro lies about being Scientology leader in San Francisco. This was actually almost exactly 12 weeks ago. In that video, we've got some AA run inception going on here right now. In that video, Ricky Glaser showed up in the live chat. And this, I believe, is what would have been the mortal sin that would eventually cause Aaron Kyro to disconnect from Ricky without trying to handle him. Now, I understand that Ricky isn't the only one Aaron has disconnected from, but he is the only one who I've seen the video about. So that's the one, this just happens to be the one that I'm responding to. So let me see. I've got some timestamps here. 2410. I don't know. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. Okay. So 2410, Ricky pops up. I've got the sound turned off on the video that we're watching on. So, and you can see, so he says, "Hi chat, are there any skaters in here?" He says, "I'm not a Scientologist for what it's worth." He then later says, "I'm here to learn." And then he says, "Oh, this would have been a big deal." He says, "I read Mike Rinder's book." Uh-oh, that makes Ricky a PTS of the highest order. He read Mike Rinder's book. And by the way, what Ricky would not have known is that Scientology's Office of Special Affairs watches every second of every video that I do, reads every comment in the live chat and in my comments section. And my comment section was very much pointing out that Ricky Glaser, a Braille employee, was in the chat. And I did bring up one of his comments on the screen as well. He asks me, what does it mean for Aaron to be the leader of Scientology in San Francisco? And then he says again that he is not a Scientologist. Okay, so now I am going to show you the part of the video where I bring Ricky's comment up on the screen, because essentially what happened in this video is when Ricky's in my live chat and he makes a comment and I bring it up on the screen and I respond, Ricky and I are essentially having a conversation in real time. That makes Ricky Glaser connected to one of the biggest, baddest, most evil SPs in this sector of the Galactic Federation. And I very much doubt that Ricky knew what a big deal that would be for Aaron and Scientology and Braille. Okay, the part where his comment comes up on the screen is 3823. And I'll turn, again, we're going to have some AA run inception here. Let's do this. Okay. Ricky Glaser says, "Do David Miscavige and Kyro work together and have communication?" So I'm going to say, okay, if Aaron Kyro, I'm going to say possibly. Here's what I mean. The answer should be no, because David Miscavige is the chairman of the board of Religious Technology Center, and technically speaking, he's not supposed to be having any direct personal communication with the executive directors of orgs. The caveat to this is that these executive directors and their command teams just finished what David Miscavige considers to be the most important training evolution in the history of Scientology. Now, I was a part of one of those earlier training evolutions back in 1996. And I can tell you that when we finished that training evolution, we were all told directly by David Miscavige that we basically all had permission to use what he called the bat phone, where like, in Batman, you pick up the red phone or whatever. And was it a direct line between the commissioner and Batman? He basically bypassed the entire command structure of Scientology by essentially saying, I just finished training all of you. Everyone else in Scientology, all the other international management and international management, they are not in the loop. You're in the loop. I'm in the loop. If anyone messes with you, you call me. And I took that to heart. That message from David Miscavige served me very valuably. It served me in many ways during my successive years working at the Philadelphia organization and then later working in the C organization. I can tell you that as Scientology continues to fail and fail and fail and get smaller and smaller and smaller, Miscavige is getting more and more desperate to have like an inner circle of trusted managers. And one of the reasons this recent training evolution was so important to him is because for the first time in like 40 or 50 years, he has now installed executive directors at every city level organization who is extremely loyal to nobody but David Miscavige. Now, does that mean Aaron Kyro has David Miscavige's cell phone number? No, it does not mean that. Does that mean that if Aaron Kyro were to send a message through Scientology's system, his telex system or dispatch system, directly to David Miscavige, that he would get a personal reply? Yes, he absolutely would. Are they hanging out on the weekends and skateboarding together? No, they're not. That's Tom Cruise's job. So does Aaron Kyro know David Miscavige? Yes. Does David Miscavige know Aaron Kyro? Yes. Have they met? Yes. Have they spoken? Yes. Remember, there's less than 150 Scientology organizations. There's only about 150 Scientology organizations in the entire world. David Miscavige just got done personally training them. So you do not, and remember, these new command teams for each org, some of these command teams have like 20 people on them. Some Scientology organizations don't even have 20 staff members. But in the case of San Francisco, they have more staff members than average. And you don't just accidentally get picked to be the executive director of one of these command teams. So David Miscavige knows exactly who Aaron Kyro is and essentially had to vouch for him in certain respects. Aaron Kyro had to be approved by David Miscavige to become the new executive director of the San Francisco Day Org. Have no doubt about that. Very good questions, though, Ricky. I appreciate it. I'm going to see if there's any more follow-up questions from you here. I really thought this clip went for another 30 seconds, so let me just make sure I didn't. No, I guess not. Okay, but there is an earlier timestamp where I think I actually pointed out what a big deal. Because someone's like, oh, is Ricky a Scientologist? And I was like, oh, just the fact that Ricky is in this chat at all means he's not a Scientologist, because if he was, he would be in an awful lot of trouble. So let me just show you that clip here. Not a Scientologist. I totally believe him. Believe me, if Ricky was a Scientologist, he would not be in my live chat. If Ricky was a Scientologist and he was in my live chat, he would be in a lot of trouble and would probably be kicked out of Scientology and fired from his job right quick. Yeah. So, yeah. Publicly participating in a conversation with a known, declared, and avowed suppressive person about David Miscavige and about Aaron Kyro puts you in a camp that when Aaron would be confronted with all of these people in his life or associated with his company or his business who are connecting up to known suppressive persons on the internet, that's when Aaron would start blocking people all over the place. You know, Scientology has this principle. They like to say it's one of the most fundamental truths, which is communication is the universal solvent. And yet they don't actually behave that way. you know, because truly there's no reason that Aaron Kyro couldn't have called up Ricky and be like, hey, Ricky, what's going on, man? What's going on? Why, like, I got this text from you. You've been very respectful of Scientology, but what are you doing? What are you doing supporting people on the internet who attack my religion? I've got a big problem with that. And who knows, maybe Ricky would have said, oh, geez, I'm sorry, man. I didn't realize that would have been something you took so personally. All right, well, you see what I'm saying? All I'm saying is Aaron could have at least tried to handle it in a humane way, in a way that just showed care for people who have helped his business over the years. Uh-oh, what's happening? Barb, you okay? All right. Let's see. Okay, so I do have some thoughts about Scientology actually destroying Braille skateboarding in general. First of all, Aaron Kyro has reportedly taken at least $1 million of revenue to the company and just turned it over to Scientology. I say allegedly. The allegedly part isn't that he's donated over $1 million. That's a documented fact. The allegedly comes from the fact that it basically comes from the money that the company has earned from skateboarders. It's not like he's just taking a salary, but he's actually using the company money and giving it to Scientology. By the time Aaron had to break down the company's skateboarding park just in the last few weeks, the reason given was just that, revenue was too low and expenses were too high. I think an extra $1 million might have come into handy to help keep help support the operations of the business. And this is one of the things that has fueled a lot of anti-Scientology sentiment in the discourse that's occurring online in the skateboarding community about Aaron Kyro and Braille skateboarding. Okay, another principle here is Scientology and the internet do not mix. The internet wins every single time. The fact that they took a Scientologist who had rose to prominence, becomes somewhat famous on the internet, and took that person and put them on staff in a public, high-profile position was absolute insanity. That was never going to work. And anyone in Scientology should have been able to predict that. This is why celebrities, there's a rule in Scientology. Well, there's a definition in Scientology called an honorary Sea Org member. And this is when a celebrity Scientologist says, you know what? I have a very strong purpose to help Scientology clear the earth. And I might be a famous movie star, but you know what? I want to join the Sea Org and put my shoulder to the wheel. The reason there's a definition of an honorary Sea Org member is because when a celebrity says they want to join the Sea Org, what you're supposed to tell them is, no, that's stupid. That's dumb. We don't do that. But we appreciate the origination. We appreciate the effort. And so we're going to call you an honorary Sea Org member. Now, unfortunately, there's no such definition in Scientology called an honorary staff member. And there really should be. Because the line between being on staff and being in the Sea Org gets more and more blurred these days. When Aaron Kyro, basically an internet celebrity, whether he said, I want to join staff, or whether some ridiculous recruiter decided they were going to try to recruit this guy for staff, someone should have stepped in and said, no, that doesn't make any sense. And if someone was going to try to figure out how to have Aaron continue to operate as a successful business and be on staff, they shouldn't have put him in charge of the organization that operates Monday through Friday from 9 to 6. How stupid can you be? You cannot work at a Scientology organization during normal business hours and run a successful company that is also supposed to operate during normal business hours. You cannot operate a successful company that way. They could have put Aaron in charge of the Scientology organization that operates nights and weekends. Why not? Then at least he would have had a chance of continuing to successfully run his business. Absolutely crazy. Let's see. Oh, I did receive a question. Someone emailed me like, is there some possibility that Aaron's got some arrangement with David Miscavige at Scientology, and somehow he's getting paid some sort of unusual salary because he's like this sort of famous celebrity guy who's running their main organization? Is it possible that they have made it worth his while to do this? And that would explain this behavior. And the answer is hell no. No. It's just another reason none of this stuff makes any damn sense. It is quite literally impossible for Aaron Kyro to be making enough money working as the executive director of the San Francisco Day organization. I don't know if Aaron's married or if he has kids, but even if he's single with no kids living by himself in a studio apartment, there is no possibility that he is making enough money working at the Scientology organization to even support himself. Scientology staff members do not support themselves from the money they make working at Scientology. Period. There are no exceptions to that rule. You might go, well, how does anyone ever go on staff? It's usually someone who's being supported by their family, or someone who's being supported by their spouse, or maybe it's a trust fund baby, or maybe it's 6 staff members sleeping in bunk beds in a studio apartment, and they can, between all of them, manage to pay the rent and the utilities and scrape some money together for food. But I'm talking about if you're a single person living by yourself in even a studio apartment, you cannot live based on what you're making there. And this is why it is just so crazy that Scientology has screwed Aaron Kyro. Scientology has screwed Braille skateboarding. And Aaron Kyro is too brainwashed to have done anything about it. Speaking of which, just a random thought before I forget, for any of you under the radar Scientologists out there, I have still not been able to get a photograph of the new OEC volumes, the new management volumes. If anyone out there can somehow manage to get me a photo of these things, I would very, very much appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Oh gosh, I have a note here that's just kind of a prompt for me, which is, why can't Scientologists just be honest and upfront and forthright in their communication with non-Scientologists about the subject of Scientology? I mean, even the video that I was doing that Ricky jumped into the live chat, it was called Aaron Kyro Lies About Being the Leader of Scientology. He went on this podcast partially to clear the air about some of the rumors about Scientology. And even in this interview, he could have just said, hey guys, look, there's this rumor going around that I'm the leader of Scientology in San Francisco. I am a staff member at the Scientology organization, and I am the executive director, but that doesn't make me the leader of Scientology. That just makes me, the manager of the local organization. Instead, he pretended like he wasn't even on staff. Like, why can't Scientologists just be honest when they're talking about Scientology with the real world? And there's probably many different answers that I could give you for this, but one of the answers that to me has the most weight is there are so many things about Scientology that you're actually not allowed to talk about, that you would get in trouble for talking about, and you would almost get in trouble for saying that you would get in trouble. And so it creates this kind of lose-lose situation where Scientologists just always sound like they're being evasive and lying, because they are. It's kind of unfortunate. I do think that there is a way for I do think there is a way to be honest in these conversations. And I just think Scientologists get so afraid of saying the wrong thing or being asked a question about confidential materials, whether it's about Xenu or whether it's about the international base or whether it's about Shelley Miscavige or Leah Remini or any of these things, that they just always end up coming across as cowardly liars. It's just kind of the way that it is. Okay, let's see. I think that's pretty much all I have to say on this. I do have the lovely Barbara in the back office starring some comments for me. So let's see what we have here. Joshua Burt, you've probably already answered this before, but what OT level is Kyro? I actually don't know. If anybody out there knows where Aaron is at on the bridge, is he clear? Is he OT? What OT levels did he finish? I think all of the trainees for this management program that he was doing, I think they all did superpower, which isn't really a bridge step. It's not an OT level. And you can do superpower even if you're a lower level on the bridge. But anyway, if anyone knows where Aaron's at on the bridge, please email me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com. Okay, the ninja rate. The ninja rate. Why did Aaron Kyro get surgery on his foot? Shouldn't he have just gone to the chiropractor and worked on it through his self-auditing? This is a common misconception. Scientologists are allowed to take medicine. They are allowed to go to the doctor. There's no rules in Scientology against getting medical care. There is sort of a bias against doing it as a first, as sort of doing it as a last resort. There's a tendency to do it as a last resort. It's not against the rules to go to the doctor in any way, shape, or form. The only thing that is against the rules in Scientology is to take psych drugs, any antidepressants, any anti-anxiety, antipsychotic. I mean, a Valium, an Adderall, a Xanax. I mean, these things are like, oh my God, it's like the devil. And so it doesn't surprise me that they got surgery on his foot. But the fact that he is like the brand new executive director of the San Francisco org and he broke his foot, he would have had to go get a PTS handling. Because in Scientology, one of the ways they say your PTS is if you have an accident. If you have an accident, your PTS. L. Ron Hubbard says, any and all non-optimum conditions and accidents. Oh, I used to know it verbatim. Any and all accidents or non-optimum conditions stem directly and only from a PTS condition. There is no other cause. And so you have to do an interview and you have to see what sources of suppression are on your lines right now. And what are you going to do about that? That very well may have been what led to him disconnecting from a whole bunch of people. Anna says, do you think he disconnected from a lot of his former friends because they considered the business Braille more important than Scientology? Maybe his ethics officer didn't like it. I don't think that would be the reason. Non-Scientologists aren't expected to think that Scientology is more important than anything. That would be expected. So I don't think that's what's behind it. Tina McBride said, I thought he had to be asked directly to give everything up. I'm not sure what you mean, Tina. I'm sorry about that, but I wish I could reply, but I'm not sure what you mean. GR, do you think Aaron breaking his foot had anything to do with this? Yep, I actually do think it had something to do with this. Power lies to paralyze. Aaron Kyro breaking his foot is so PTS. That's no bueno in the Scientology verse. You are totally correct. Old Frizz, it boggles the mind how Scientology keeps up with all the live chats. In court, they were citing William Good's live chat as well. Do they tape everything and go over it after? That's exactly what they do. They tape and record everything. Joe Borders, I'm coming down with a cold and I have no idea what my crimes are. Well, you got to get on the meter, Joe. They'll find your crimes. Mubaheka. So knowing that Scientologists watch you, do you ever make content to try to educate or help them directly? I do it all the time. Ben Bacon Bits, thank you for watching, Osa. The additional audience helps the YouTube algorithm decide to push this out to more. Big sloppy dog kisses to you. Thank you. Thank you, Ben Bacon Bits. Old Frizz, honorary Sea Org member. Geez, is it true Tom Cruise wanted to join the Sea Org at one time? Oh, I promise you Tom Cruise is an honorary Sea Org member. I can also tell you for a fact that John Travolta is also an honorary Sea Org member. He has a Sea Org ring that he sometimes wears. Kylie says, does the honorary Sea Org label upset real Sea Org members even a little bit who actually have to work and bleed for the cause? No, not at all. Sea Org members are not jealous of public Scientologists. Sea Org members are not jealous of celebrity Scientologists. I know I can understand why it might be easy to think that there is some maybe resentment there that the Sea Org members are working so hard and everyone else isn't, but that really doesn't exist in Scientology. Okay, Old Frizz says, Natalie said there's a few Braille Scientologists. Yes, my understanding is that the skateboarders who are like sponsored by Braille or whatever, none of those people are Scientologists, but that a good number of the employees of the company are. Colin says they stopped daily uploads because he only films on Saturdays. How stupid. He built the success of the company based on uploading videos every day for over 10 years. And now he can't because he's on staff at the org. It's so stupid. Mind-boggling. Dr. Julian Bashir, do you think they are prepping Aaron Kyro for a higher rank within the organization in terms of putting him in charge of the social media? I do not think so. I mean, the executive director of the org is not in charge of Scientology's social media. So I think I've understood your question, and I believe the answer is no. Lost World of JJ. Fun fact. Some of the Braille people literally slept on the floor in the warehouse, and Kyro's thank you is blocking people and killing off the company. Yeah, you know, another similar a similarity here is Scientology creates all of its own problems exclusively because of how poorly they treat its own members. There is such a devaluation of the value of the individual, and the organization is above all, and just individuals are just expected to give everything for nothing. And it just seems like Aaron just basically spent 2 to 3 years, you know, training directly under David Miscavige here in Clearwater, Florida at the Flag Land Base. I live in Clearwater, Florida. Like David, what happens in these training evolutions is people end up just becoming versions of David Miscavige. Aaron would have seen firsthand how the value of individuals within the group is practically zero, which even mathematically doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense that you can build a big, important group by treating people as if they are zeros. And yet Scientology does treat people as if they are zeros. And it is one of the main reasons that Scientology is rapidly shrinking in terms of membership. At its peak in the late 80s, there was approximately 100,000 active Scientologists in the world. Now it is closer to 20,000, generously 35,000 in the entire world, but more realistically closer to 25,000. It is because of how poorly Scientology treats its people. I see Aaron basically behaving in that same way to the people who have helped Braille skateboarding over the years. Let's see. Lady Victoria says, now that they're realizing that he now has brought more light onto the church, what do you think is going to happen to Aaron? I think Aaron is going to continue to be on post as the executive director. You know, if they have to pull him back to Flag for some correction, they'll do that. But I think they are quite invested. All these executives on these management teams, these new management teams, have all spent like 3 years doing this full-time training. And they're not just going to remove him from post because of something like this. Yeah. Thank you, Lady Victoria. Oh, power lies to paralyze. As of 2017, Aaron Kyro was OT6 and completed the Ls. Well, that means Aaron's on OT7 now if he's not done with OT7. OT7 can take years and years and years and years and years. More recently, they've been letting people finish it rather quickly. But if he was on OT6 in 2017, then he's either on OT7 or he's finished with OT7. And he might even be OT8. You never know. But that means he's up there. He's up there in the Tom Cruise stratosphere as far as how much Scientology he's done. Max Redstone says, you made me think DM ruined the language for the blind. Oh, you thought I was talking about the Braille, reading Braille? Very funny. Okay, R. Baker. So when Tom Cruise broke his foot doing the movie, did they handle it as such? It seems like they took it like he was more heroic for pushing it through. Oh yeah, when Tom Cruise broke his ankle on that stunt on Mission Impossible, he would have had to get a PTS handling. Getting a PTS handling is one of the most common things in Scientology. Every time you get a cold or a fever, you have to get a PTS handling. That's how infatuated, it might help you appreciate just how infatuated and paranoid Scientologists are about being connected to sources of suppression, i.e. antagonism to Scientology. It comes up all the time. And every time it comes up, you only have two options: handle, disconnect. Okay. Mubahe Ka, good to see you again. So do famous Scientologists generally pay more for classes and donations than everyone else? Nope. Famous people pay the same amount of money as everybody else, except Tom Cruise and his family tend to get a lot of free service. Okay. Be Merry for Life. Who was that sitting with Tom Cruise at the Simone show? Olympics. Where was David Miscavige? Why isn't he ever seen out with Tom Cruise? I think it's so that Tom Cruise doesn't get bad press for hanging out with the head of a cult. I did not see Tom Cruise. I don't know. When you say the Simone show, the Olympics, I don't know what you're talking about other than the fact that I know the Olympics are going on. Has there already been a Tom Cruise sighting at the Olympics? I haven't read about it yet. Okay, Kaz Tutu. So he was away from the channel for 3 years because of this training. Yeah, he might have been. Maybe he was on an accelerated training program where it took him 2 years. But yeah, he told everyone he was going away to business school. He wasn't at business school. He was at the Church of Scientology in Clearwater, Florida, training under David Miscavige. Love Maddie. So what exactly took him 3 years to do? He seems to be that he's a worse person than before he went there. So David Miscavige decided that no one has ever properly understood the management policies that L. Ron Hubbard wrote, of which there are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of them. So David Miscavige decided that all of the policy volumes had been assembled in an order that were out of sequence, that prevented them from being properly understood conceptually in a way that could be effectively applied to divisions and to lines across divisions. So David Miscavige decided to recompile and re-release the entire management volumes of Scientology. And he was going to train brand new executive command teams for every Scientology organization in the world, of which there's about 150. He was going to train brand new command teams on all of the brand new policy volumes, and he was going to send them all back to their orgs at the same time, but they didn't all go back at the same time. Only a handful of them have gone back. And that this is what was going to boom Scientology. The brand new buildings, combined with brand new policy volumes, combined with brand new executives, was going to be the renaissance, the golden age of Scientology expansion. It's not going to work. Just hang outside the front of the San Francisco org for a few hours each day and let me know how many people you actually see going in and out of that place. I bet you can't find one brand new person going into the Scientology organization in San Francisco, no matter when you're hanging out there. So that is what he and about 1,000 other people from around the world were training on for about 3 years straight. And bonus fun fact, they weren't even allowed to study during daytime hours. All of these trainees were made to sleep all day and study at night. And the explanation was that there just wasn't enough course room. There just wasn't enough space in the course rooms. There's so many people studying in the course rooms. There just wasn't even enough space for all the public Scientologists and all of the out-org trainees to study at the same time. It was just a lie. David Miscavige didn't want the trainees to see how empty Flag's course rooms are during the day. So he made them sleep all day and study all night, 7 days a week for 3 years. That sounds dangerous to me, especially when these guys weren't signing up for that. They didn't know that that's what they were going to do. They were just told they were going to Flag. Then they get the Flag and they're like, surprise, bitches, you're studying at night. Absolute insanity. Okay, Lost World of JJ says, Aaron Kyro had a business partner. His name was Lance. He moved for work, but in fact, he moved so he doesn't drive far for Scientology training. There you go. All right, everyone, that is all I have on this. Let me give one more shameless plug to the Clips channel. I'm trying to throw all of my shorter segments up there and keep the main channel for the longer pieces. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out with me. That is probably all. That's probably all I've got tonight. Much more coming tomorrow and all of next week. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button while you're here, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.